This time on The Adventures of Tarka. We make new friends and indulge in the local poison. We get intercepted by the Coast Guard during a difficult battle to windward. And we escape to an island paradise as we explore Curaçao's small uninhabited neighbor. First days in Curaçao exploring on our own, we soon realized that we wouldn't be able to avoid the warm embrace of the local welcome wagon. This is Alcino. He's a local here who quickly introduced himself and came over the next day to pick us up for an evening of indulgence. We're getting picked up. We still gotta get in the dinghy though. Hello! Since I started sailing. So I used to watch Delos a lot. Yeah, but why?
The dinghy reminds me of them.
Oh yeah? He also introduced us to some other people, and our first stop was Sophisticated Lady, where we picked up a man whose presence in this community is quite well known. Nice boat you have here, Alcina. But still, that's not very long. With Rick and Alcino, we joined up with two other locals, Steve and Denise, and headed out into the town to sample some of Curaçao's nightlife. And our first stop was this bar. Most people know about blue Curaçao, but how about green rum? Actually, everything was so green in here that it's hard to say if the rum was actually green or if it was just the lighting. But regardless, it was a great way to kick off a fun night with our new friends. Unfortunately, I think we had a bit too much fun.
What's happening here? What's happening?
Though we are sailors, we sure don't drink like we are very often, and my body wasn't so happy with me.
How come you're not hungover? What happened there?
Because somebody was so kind to eat like my overflow line.
These are the things I do for love.
I mustered down some breakfast, but quickly fed it to the fish on my way out to the dinghy. Oh well. We've also been happy to meet up with some old friends again here in Curaçao, Teresa and Lucas, who I first met way back when this adventure first started, and who we gave our mooring to when we left Bonaire. They just arrived here in Curaçao, and we welcomed their arrival. We were getting a little bit bored of Spanish water, and so we decided to go visit Curaçao's smaller neighbor, the very cleverly named Klein Curaçao, which in Dutch just means small Curaçao. Teresa and Lucas and Mila were joining us for this trip, so the race was on. We took the lead, but it didn't take them long with their larger boat and probably better sailing skills to catch up and pass us. Klein Curaçao is upwind of Curaçao and takes quite the battle to reach. And the current wasn't helping us at all, which became very evident after we finally decided to tack. Eventually, we called our friends up on the VHF and decided to make progress towards Phuc Bay instead for the night, as there just wasn't any hope of us reaching Klein Curacao by sunset. So, we continued to splash our way upwind. You having fun out here?
Yeah, the guy likes straight upwind.
Straight upwind. Once we arrived in Phuc Bay, we dropped the anchor next to Mila and settled in for the evening. Teresa and Lucas were brave enough to paddleboard their grill to the beach, so we all got to enjoy a nice barbecue at sunset. Do you want our outboard? Want to put the outboard on the back? That's funny. Too lazy to inflate our dinghy, we just swam to the beach. But we found this mast along the way. The rigging probably wasn't any good, but the ropes might be useful. I mean, hey, you can never have enough ropes. I don't know what the proper name for these inflatable chairs is, but they're insanely comfortable, and we fondly call them pussy pillows. I think we need one of our own. As the sun set, we talked, shared stories, and watched the day come to an end. We were also treated to a quick lesson in physics by Teresa and Lucas. The next day, our new friends, Rick, Alcino, Steve, and Denise, joined us in Phuc Bay on their respective boats. This is also about the time that the anchorage started to fill up with local boats looking for a good time. Meanwhile, we just took it easy and hung out on the boat. The next morning, we decided to make a second attempt at Klein Curacao, in what we hoped would be more favorable conditions. Hoping to avoid the stronger afternoon winds and leave enough time to make the trip, we left as normal at sunrise. At one point, we were very surprised by a low-flying Coast Guard helicopter that started circling us, which surely can't be good. On their second pass, they turned on their siren and hailed us on the VHF. I got my radio on. Are you getting pulled over? I guess they were just curious as to what a little boat like ours was doing out here, on a course that sure made it look like we were coming up from Venezuela. We gave them some info, and they let us go. Yeah, we were exactly in Curacao. We were just trying to head over to Klein Curacao, but I don't know if we're going to make it.
Yeah, when we're sailing again.
Yeah, it's so loud that you don't really hear the boat sailing, and
Yeah.
you're not really reacting to anything. It's funny because when we left Bonaire, we thought we were done with the upwind sailing. Boy, were we wrong. Rick and Alcino decided to join us in Klein Curacao, but they left later and they motor sailed.
Alcino and Rick on Sophisticated Lady are cheating. They got their engines on, and we got our sails up. That makes us better. Oh, they're gonna beat us by so much.
And it sure didn't take long for them to catch up and pass us as we continued to tack upwind. I can't say I blame them. I mean, it probably would have taken us half the time, and perhaps it would have been less wet. But then again, Tarka is a sailboat. I think she should be sailed. Wet and tired, we were happy to arrive in the calm lee waters of Klein Curacao. Klein Curacao isn't much, but it offers beautiful water for swimming and snorkeling. And these conditions offer a great excuse to go check that the anchor is properly set. There isn't much on the island itself. It's a short walk from one side to the other. And on the windward side, there's evidence of what happens to boats when caught on these lee shores.
The rumor I heard was that it broke a mooring in Bonaire and ended up ashore here in Klein Curacao. And it was quite a big boat.
It's long been pillaged of anything useful, except for maybe some stainless steel screws here and there.
You look closely.
They're gone.
All the screws are gone.
Oh, he didn't do the top.
Oh, he didn't get them all seen it. This traveler's nice though. How come no one's taking this off?
But it's still an interesting relic, and a great picnic bench. The island also hosts a lighthouse, which is really its only permanent structure, and a necessary one at that, as the island is otherwise flat and very difficult to spot at night.
I can see up your skirt.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Aside from the afternoon charter boats, the island is quiet. And the only real residents are the local turtles that come here to lay their eggs. It also makes for an ideal kite surfing spot, though we decided to keep the kite tucked away this time. Another day, another perfect sunset. And it doesn't get much better than a row to the beach, watching Tarka dance around her anchor. Our time in Klein Curacao has to come to an end though. We can only be here for a few days at a time, and plus we still have work to do on the boat, and there's no chance of finding any parts here. So we reluctantly weighed anchor and made our way back to Spanish water the next day. That's okay though, because another adventure awaits just over the horizon.